Hi everybody, welcome and thank you so much for joining us this evening. My name is Punya Krishnappa and I am the Director of States with When We All Vote, a new national nonprofit, nonpartisan organization focused on changing the conversation around voting and the culture around voting. We are really excited that you all decided to spend your evening with us. For those of you that are tuning in live and those of you that are going to see this later, thank you for everything you're doing to be part of this work. We have some incredible folks behind us, including Michelle Obama and our co-chairs Tom Hanks, Faith Hill, Tim McGraw, Chris Paul, Janelle Monáe, and Lin-Manuel Miranda, and so many more who care about this work as much as we do. So thank you for being part of this. I can't say that enough. We're joined today by a really special guest, my good friend, my fellow organizer, our Deputy Director, Yoli Magallanes.
Hey everyone, I'm so excited to be here today. Punya, thank you for inviting me to do this. And thank you to all of you who have stepped up in the last few weeks to talk to your friends and family about the importance of registering to vote in advance of these upcoming midterm elections. It means the world to us to see that you're already out there taking action and to see your photos and to see that you're talking to one another and giving each other advice. This is exactly what we wanted from this Facebook community, and we're just really excited to start diving in with you on this and help give you the resources that you need to take this to the next level. Thank you.
Before we get started, just a couple things. Everything we're talking about, all the resources, the toolkits, the best practice one-pagers are all available at whenweallvote.org/volunteer. So feel free to pull them up now and follow along, or take a look at them later, but they're able to be accessed online, downloaded, printed, shared far and wide to make sure everyone has the resources they need to help others register themselves. Now, everything we're doing as an organization is building towards this incredible, exciting National Week of Action, September 22nd through the 29th. And we're going to talk more about that a little later, but I want you to remember those dates, so save it on your calendar, the 22nd through the 29th of September, because we've got a lot of stuff happening. Now, we've got two goals for our first training this evening. The first of which is to make sure you all are able to go through the online portal on whenweallvote.org to register yourselves. And we want to be able to make sure you have the resources, the tools, the know-how to be able to start talking to your friends, family, and communities about how to help them register themselves. You're empowering a lot of people to take part in this really important process.
One of the things that we've been discussing a lot lately is that one of the reasons that people cite most often for not having registered to vote is that simply no one has ever asked them to. So we want to help change that, and we think that together we will be able to make a really big difference by just having these conversations with one another, with our friends, with our loved ones, with members of our community. So we're
absolutely
excited.
Now, as most of you know, voting is a really personal thing we all do. We all have different reasons or moments or things that really stay with us about our first time voting, our first time really being engaged. Yoli, why do you care so much about this work?
Yeah, so it's civic engagement and participation in our democracy has been a long-time passion of mine, and it starts with the fact that I am the daughter of immigrants, and I grew up watching my parents, struggle to make ends meet, just getting by day to day, and they never had the opportunity to cast a ballot to make their voice heard in that way. So seeing that as I was growing up, I just knew that I wasn't going to miss an opportunity to make my voice heard, to speak on behalf of my family when I could. So I caught the bug pretty early. I was a junior in high school when I started organizing on this issue, and I remember talking to seniors that I had in certain classes and just talking to them about, are you registered to vote? Do you know how to do it? I'll show you. I'll find out how to do it for you, just to make sure that they could make their voices heard for those of us that didn't have the opportunity quite yet. So that's kind of how I got my start. But I remember the first time I got the opportunity to actually vote, it was a midterm election. I got up really early. I didn't want anything to get in the way of me getting out there to cast my ballot. So it was super easy and simple. The second time, though, was a really meaningful day for me that I'll never forget. It's been years and years now. I won't tell you exactly how many. But I showed up to vote in my first presidential election, and I ended up waiting 8 hours. 8 hours to cast my ballot. And,
But I stayed in line.
Yeah, I stayed in line. I was lucky enough that I was able to stay in line, but as I sat there, I was with friends, we talked about why we stayed, and it was for those people that we knew weren't going to have the opportunity to do that. And whenever it's time to vote, I always remember that day, and I always make my plan and get out there. So this is really about all of us coming together to change the culture around voting and getting prepared for that, registering as far in advance as we can, so that we can go out there and then focus on talking to our friends and family about
Absolutely
doing the same thing.
I know a number of you already shared your stories of why this work matters to you. Please continue to do so, and folks that are newer to the group, be sure to share with all of us why you are here. My story is actually not too dissimilar from Yoli's. I also am the daughter of immigrants. I saw my parents go through the process of becoming citizens and how excited they were during their naturalization ceremony, and I remember seeing my dad get sworn in, and it's such a cool experience to see someone so excited to really take advantage of all the rights and privileges that come with being an American citizen, really shaping your own democracy. So thank you for everybody again for sharing your stories and making sure that you start that conversation there, because Votings personally want you to try and find ways to connect with people to make them also look within and find what resonates with them.
Yeah.
We're going to cover a lot of information. Again, be sure to look at this information from the website whenweallvote.org/volunteer later on. But we're going to go through a couple points that you should think of as you start to think about how to begin talking about voter registration. So there's a lot of different things that work in different communities. Both of us longtime organizers. Yoli, how do you kind of go about starting to figure out where in the community to talk to people?
So I always start with the people closest to me, but that's easy. You go and you talk to them, you make sure that they're registered. The next step for me is to just thinking through what the high traffic areas are in my community, and depending on where it might be, it's where are people commuting? Is it a train station? Is it a bus station? Is it the farmer's market on Saturday or Sunday? Is it a festival? What's going on in your community? Those are just some really simple things that you can come up with and try to plan out. But your communities better than we do. So think hard about the places that you frequent, the places that that a lot of people frequent in your community, and get creative. It could be anything really. We just want to make sure that when you're showing up to these places, you of course ask for permission to do that. We want to identify ourselves as volunteers, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And let people know that all we're doing is talking to people about the importance of registering to vote and pointing them to resources. So it's really just quite that simple. And
get creative. Sky's the limit for the different places that you can talk to folks, whether it's at a barbershop while you're waiting to get your hair cut, or whether it's a festival in your community, or simply just walking downtown and talking to folks.
Sounds like you're at a grocery store. Everyone is,
everyone's there.
Yeah.
Everyone will be there eventually. But it's not just an individual activity. It can be, but it's way more fun when you find a buddy.
It is. It really is.
Ask your friends to participate with you, your coworkers, your family. The more people you ask to participate in this work with you, the more fun it is, and the more people you'll be able to reach.
Yeah, there's power in numbers. And once you have your crew together, make a plan. Where do you want to go? What are you gonna talk to people about? But also, we're asking people to use the website to register themselves to vote, and we want to make sure that we're asking people to use their smartphones or their tablets, their own devices. But if you have devices, come prepared with them, because there might be people that you talk to that don't have that on them, and we want to make sure that we capture everyone that needs to register to vote. So if you feel comfortable lending your device to someone for a few minutes while they enter their information, please go ahead and do that. Make sure that there's internet, make sure that there's Wi-Fi, whatever you need to make sure it goes smoothly. And I always bring snacks because I'm always snacking. So
of course. And for my folks in Arizona, Nevada, Texas, where it's really, really hot outside, bring water, wear comfortable shoes, and bring your most important accessory, your smile. It's the easiest way to begin a conversation, to engage with people, and we're going to do some more kindness in the world.
Yeah, it's contagious.
It absolutely is. So now it's one thing to hear about voter registration and to talk through ideas and ways of doing it. It's a whole other ball of wax when you actually see it live in front of you. So we're gonna swap out. Don't worry, Yoli will be back.
I'm coming back, don't worry. We're just gonna
He's
switch
not
out for a little
disappear.
while.
But I'm gonna bring up a very special guest. Our lovely volunteer, Jules.
Hey guys.
Hi, Jules.
Bridget, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm great.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
You guys, how can you say no to registering with this guy? He's so nice, happy, excited.
It's all about the smile.
All about the smile. Awesome. So now, picture we're not in Facebook land right now. We are on campus, perhaps at GW.
Ringside.
That was good. You know, walking on campus in the quad. We're going to show you what a potential conversation with a new registrant could look like. And then we'll talk a little bit about what we did and what we saw and things that you can use while you're out in your community talking to voters.
Let's do it.
One, action. Hi!
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing great, but you know I'm real busy. Is this pretty quick?
Super quick. So
Great.
I'm a volunteer with When We All Vote, and I'm out here making sure all the students on campus are registered to vote at their current address. Are you registered to vote?
You know, I know I'm registered back home, but I don't know if I'm registered on my new apartment.
Awesome. Do you have your phone on you?
I do.
Perfect. Just go ahead and pull out your phone.
Okay.
Open up your browser.
Yeah.
And go to whenweallvote.org.
Okay.
There.
It's this one, right?
Absolutely. There's this really great button that's bright red.
Oh, it's right
that says
there.
register to vote. Click on that. And then you're simply entering your information and hit submit. And boom, you're
This
registered.
is so great. And can I show this to all my friends in class?
Absolutely. Just tell them to go to the website and they just need to simply fill everything out on their own and they too can be registered to vote.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Bye, Jules. What a guy. Now, a couple things that I want to point out that happened. One, not every conversation is going to be as easy as it was with Jules, and that's okay. People are going to tell you they're registered to vote, which is super great because they're already involved and engaged in the process. But what it does is it reminds them to think about their friends, their families, their coworkers, their neighbor, and that ensures that they also ask someone today if they're registered to vote at their current address. Make sure you identify yourself as a volunteer with When We All Vote. We want to make sure that people know the organization you are working with, so they know that we are a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization out here trying to include as many people in the process as possible.
And so I saw something that I wanted to point out that I really liked. You asked Jules to use his own device, and that's actually a really important piece of this. We want to make sure that we stay above the board and we respect all of the local laws and guidelines on voter registration, which varies state to state. But by pointing someone to the website and asking them to enter their own information, we are doing just that. So that's what we want to focus on. You didn't enter any of the information for him, which is great. Good job.
Thank you.
And this is all in the do's and don'ts document that we have available on the website, so you can see it all there. But you guys did a great job. A couple of other things that I just want to point out, and we'll review this from time to time in the future as well, so none of it will be info that we don't talk about frequently. But we don't want to offer anything in exchange for asking someone to register to vote. That includes anything from buttons, food, stickers, or anything that will imply that there was an incentive to register to vote. That's staying above board. We're doing this because we care about making our voices heard, and that's the bottom line. And then we're not turning anyone away. So as you start talking to people, you start talking about the things that you care about, you might have to come from totally different places and have different viewpoints, but we care about making sure that everyone has an opportunity to register to vote if they're eligible. So we just ask that you don't turn anyone away and you give people that opportunity to make their voices heard.
And just have fun. If
Yeah.
you're having fun, people are going to want to talk to you, want to engage with you. And a quick tip, oftentimes when people are registering to vote with you, they know what the process is like. It's a perfect opportunity to ask them to participate in this work alongside you. Volunteer with When We All Vote. They know how simple it is, they know how quick it is, and they become a great messenger for how easy it is to really get registered to vote.
One thing that we know for a fact is that we are the best messengers for the members of our own communities. So the more people we recruit into this movement and show just how simple it can be, the more successful we'll be in changing the culture around registration and voting, and that's what our real goal is. So we're going to accomplish that together, but it's going to take a lot of work from all of us, so I'm excited.
Absolutely. And to all of you who've already started voter registration activities in your communities and been posting your great pictures and videos and ideas, keep doing that. And for those of you that are waiting for this moment for us to all come together and hear more about how to help others register themselves, the moment is now. To get involved, registration deadlines are different in every state, so it's really important that we use this time to get as many people registered to vote, and we direct them to the right resources and tools to register themselves and empower them to use their voice in every election.
Yeah. You mentioned this at the top, but I wanted to come back to it because there's an exciting moment that's coming up towards the end of September. Can you tell us a little bit about that again?
Yes, absolutely. I alluded to it earlier. It's a really exciting moment that we're building towards. It's our National Week of Action. Now, this important date happens to fall right in the middle. September 22nd is the start of our week in action and ends on the 29th. But sandwiched in between there is National Voter Registration Day, September 25th. Also happens to be my dad's birthday, so happy early birthday, Dad. But you should get involved and host an event in your community. A big thank you to all the folks that have already signed up to be event hosts, but there's still opportunities to make sure that we are doing as many events in as many communities across the country, and we can't do that without you. So I encourage every single one of you to go online to whenweallvote.org/events and sign up to be an event host. It's as simple as getting together folks in your backyard for a cookout, talking about the importance of voting, making sure they know how to use the same tools and resources we went over today, and that they're making a commitment to be engaged moving forward. So more information to come on events. We're going to be posting an event toolkit that you will all be able to use to start planning for the week of action, September 22nd through the 29th. And we're going to be doing a follow-up training to make sure you really know how to build out this event, what it can look like in your community. So stay tuned for dates and times for when that training will be. But we're really, really excited by just the sheer amount of enthusiasm you all have already shown and by being here. So thank you. I know a number of you have already shared a bunch of questions, ideas, thoughts, feedback. We're going to be sure to follow up throughout the coming days with answers to your questions. Everything from how do you engage the youths of America on college campuses, to talking to members in your community, to being able to be present at a local festival. So stay tuned as we start to answer a lot of those questions, all the technical stuff too, because that's important to make sure you are all able to be successful as you help others register themselves.
So start thinking about hosting an event. Go on the website. It's whenweallvote.org/events to get more information. But keep an eye on this group because this is where we're going to be sharing a lot of information in the coming days and weeks. So thank you all.
Thanks so much. Have a good night.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.